Hello. Today General Hospital will reveal the atmosphere surrounding General Hospital has grown increasingly tense as the storyline pivots to one of its most shocking turns of the year, Maxie Jones' sudden and dangerous collapse. For longtime fans, the idea of losing Maxie, even temporarily, brings a wave of apprehension and heartache, but this departure is anything but casual. It is carefully scripted, interwoven with existing conflicts, and designed to heighten suspense while actress Kirsten Storms takes time away from the role. What makes this exit especially gripping is the way it is rooted in calculated malice, with Jen Sidwell emerging as the orchestrator of a sinister plan to silence the one woman who dared to stand against him. Maxie's downfall begins long before she ever steps onto the set of Home and Heart. In the days leading up to the collapse, she is locked in a moral battle with her partners, Tracy Quartermaine, Lucy Coe, and Brooke Lynn Quartermaine Chase. Together, they confront the uncomfortable reality that Sidwell funneled dirty money into deception through Sonny Corinthos. For Tracy, the initial instinct is swift and decisive: go straight to PCPD, expose the scandal, and protect the company's reputation. Yet Sidwell's reach and influence prove almost impossible to resist. He manages to manipulate Tracy's fears, dangling threats and consequences until her determination weakens. Lucy, ever concerned about public perception and financial fallout, leans toward caution, and Brooke Lynn hesitates as well. Amidst the wavering voices, Maxie alone refuses to back down. Her vote to report Sidwell stands as a symbol of her integrity, her refusal to compromise her values for convenience. But in a world where silence is currency and exposure is lethal, Maxie's courage becomes her undoing. Sidwell now knows exactly who his enemy is, and in the cold logic of his criminal empire, there is only one solution: eliminate her ability to speak. From that moment, the stage is set for a meticulously crafted downfall. The preview footage released ahead of the August episodes captures the fateful moment with unsettling clarity. Under the glare of studio lights, Maxie appears radiant and composed, representing Deception's brand with the practiced confidence that has made her indispensable to the company. She applies the product, smiles for the camera, and chats with ease while Lucy engages with host Flora Gardens. It is a scene that embodies success, charm, and professionalism, until it shatters. Within seconds of application, Maxie's body betrays her. She stumbles, her eyes cloud with confusion, and then she collapses in front of the live audience. Brooke Lynn, watching from off-camera, screams in panic as chaos erupts on set. Lucy rushes to her side, her composure vanishing as terror grips her. The once glamorous demonstration spirals into a harrowing medical emergency, broadcast for all to see. The implications are chilling. The product was tampered with, and suspicion naturally falls on Sidwell. Who else had motive? Who else had the means to infiltrate Deception's production line and weaponize something so harmless as a beauty cream? Poison, sedatives, or some experimental compound, it hardly matters. What matters is the outcome: Maxie is silenced in the most public and humiliating way possible. Sidwell's warning is clear, not just to Maxie, but to anyone else who might consider crossing him. As Maxie is rushed to the hospital, the crisis deepens. Doctors work frantically to stabilize her, but her condition quickly worsens. Breathing difficulties, erratic vitals, and neurological symptoms suggest that the substance was far from ordinary. The possibility of a coma looms heavily, echoing the haunting memory of Lulu Spencer's years-long battle for survival in a hospital bed. For Maxie's loved ones, the thought of her being trapped in that same fate is unbearable. Felicia, her mother, clings to hope while demanding answers. Max Scorpio, her stepfather and a respected figure at PCPD, finds himself torn between personal anguish and professional responsibility. Every instinct drives him to pursue Sidwell, but the evidence is circumstantial, and Sidwell's power makes a direct confrontation perilous. The fallout within Deception is just as severe. Lucy blames herself for allowing the show to go on despite her gut instincts that something was wrong. Brooke Lynn wrestles with guilt, wishing she had intervened sooner, while Tracy, shaken to her core, realizes that her earlier choice to abandon the police may have indirectly sealed Maxie's fate. The company that once symbolized glamour and success is now shrouded in scandal, with Maxie's collapse becoming both a corporate and personal nightmare. Yet the hospital crisis might not be the whole story. Rumors swirl about the possibility that Maxie never even makes it to her hospital bed. The theory of a staged medical emergency gains traction. What if the collapse was orchestrated not simply as poisoning, but as a cover for abduction? If so, Sidwell may have ordered a switch somewhere en route to GH, spiriting Maxie away to a hidden location where she can be kept unconscious and isolated. A medical crisis buys him time, misdirecting suspicion while ensuring that the one person capable of exposing him is tucked out of sight. This possibility adds another layer of dread. If Maxie is kidnapped under the guise of medical distress, her loved ones may be searching in the wrong place entirely. Each day that passes would increase the danger, while Sidwell consolidates his power unchecked. It would not be the first time in Port Charles history that an abduction masqueraded as tragedy, and the thought of Maxie languishing in some hidden chamber injects the story with terrifying uncertainty. And then there is Peter August's shadow, an echo from the past that refuses to fade. Though he died in 2022, his obsession with Maxie remains a ghostly thread in the narrative. Speculation that Peter is somehow linked to the secretive research projects involving Professor Henry Dalton and Dr. Britt Westbourne complicates the picture further. Sidwell, ever calculating, might know that harming Maxie permanently could provoke unseen retaliation from forces connected to Peter's legacy. This could explain why her fate is hovering between life, death, and disappearance. Sidwell wants her silenced, not destroyed. For fans, Maxie's departure is devastating yet undeniably compelling. Her exit ties together corporate intrigue, criminal threats, and emotional fallout in a way that leaves the door open for her eventual return. The tension now shifts to those left behind: Felicia's maternal grief, Mac's drive for justice, Tracy's guilt, Lucy's panic, and Brooke Lynn's fierce loyalty. Each of them is forced to grapple with what happened, while the shadow of Sidwell looms ever larger. The brilliance of this storyline is how it blends necessity with drama. Kirsten Storm's absence is explained in a manner that not only makes sense but also heightens suspense. Maxie is not simply written off, she is thrust into a narrative storm that will ripple through Port Charles for months to come. When she eventually returns, whether from a coma, captivity, or both, the impact will be seismic. Maxie's sudden medical collapse spirals into an even darker turn the moment she is rushed into General Hospital. Paramedics deliver her in critical condition, monitors blaring as doctors scramble to stabilize her. The staff's faces reveal the urgency: her vitals are erratic, her breathing is shallow, and despite their best efforts, her body succumbs to a deeper, more frightening state. Within hours, Maxie slips into a coma, and the weight of her stillness casts a shadow over every corner of Port Charles. For long-time viewers, the image is painfully familiar. Years earlier, Lulu Spencer's tragic fate left her in a coma that lasted 4 long years, and now Maxie, Lulu's dearest friend, is forced into the same limbo between life and death. The parallel is not only heartbreaking but symbolic: another woman silenced, another life paused, as the people around her are left to pick up the pieces. For the show, it is also an effective narrative device. Kirsten Storm's real-life absence is seamlessly explained, and the possibility of Maxie's eventual return is left wide open. The coma buys time, yet it also leaves fans anxiously clinging to the hope of a triumphant comeback. The medical mystery alone is enough to captivate the audience, but it does not end there. Rumors spread quickly, whispered through the hospital halls and the back corners of Port Charles. Was Maxie truly poisoned, or was something far more sinister at play? The unsettling possibility arises that she never even made it fully into the safety of the hospital at all. What if her collapse was not the endgame, but merely a diversion? What if Sidwell, always meticulous in his schemes, arranged for her to be switched out during the chaos of her emergency transport? If so, the lifeless figure lying in GH could be part of a ruse, while the real Maxie languishes somewhere unknown, hidden away in a secret location controlled by Sidwell and his men. This chilling idea transforms the storyline from a medical tragedy into a full-blown abduction thriller. If Maxie has been kidnapped under the guise of hospitalization, her friends and family are fighting on the wrong battlefield, watching monitors and hoping for her recovery while she is being held captive in silence. Such a twist would elevate the stakes dramatically, because it would mean her fate depends not only on medicine, but on whether anyone in Port Charles can uncover the truth in time. The danger of such a scenario would pull several key characters deeper into the action. Max Scorpio, both Maxie's stepfather and a lawman, would be driven to the edge of his emotional limits. Torn between his role at PCPD and his personal grief, Mac would stop at nothing to trace Sidwell's hand in the events that led to this crisis. His investigative instincts would clash with his parental fear, forcing him into decisions that could put his career, and even his life, at risk. Alongside him, Anna Devane, with her vast experience in espionage and her relentless pursuit of justice, would become an essential ally. For Anna, the possibility of an elaborate kidnapping is not far-fetched. It is the kind of deception she has seen and fought against her entire career. Her expertise would be crucial in uncovering hidden trails, identifying false leads, and piecing together Sidwell's endgame. Meanwhile, Maxie's absence reverberates throughout deception and her circle of loved ones. Felicia, her mother, is left devastated, clinging to her daughter's hospital bedside or demanding answers from anyone who might have them. Brooke Lynn is racked with guilt, haunted by the image of Maxie collapsing before her eyes and replaying every moment leading up to it, wondering if she missed some clue or warning. Lucy, ever dramatic, finds herself not only grieving but also panicking about the company's future, recognizing that Sidwell's reach could destroy more than just Maxie's life. And Tracy, pragmatic and tough, must face the weight of her earlier decision to stand down instead of going to the police, a choice that now feels like a betrayal that left Maxie vulnerable. This dual layer of mystery, coma or kidnapping, creates a narrative crossroads. If the coma is real, fans will endure months of heartbreaking hospital scenes, watching loved ones cycle through grief, guilt, and determination. If the kidnapping theory proves true, however, the story will explode into a far more dangerous direction, filled with pursuit, deception, and the looming threat that Maxie may never return home. Either outcome keeps the audience hooked. The coma storyline offers emotional resonance, drawing out the raw humanity of those who love Maxie and tying her fate to themes of hope and endurance. The kidnapping angle injects urgency and thriller-like intensity, transforming the plot into a race against time and a test of loyalty, courage, and cunning. Both options also serve the practical purpose of explaining Maxie's absence while heightening suspense, ensuring that when Kirsten Storms eventually does return, it will be to a storyline brimming with dramatic payoff. What makes this twist especially compelling is that the writers leave the lines blurred. The doctors speak clinically of coma and prognosis, but faint cracks in the narrative. Unusual details in her ambulance ride, discrepancies in her charts, strange figures spotted near the hospital, plant seeds of doubt. Fans are left questioning everything, scanning each frame for clues, wondering whether they are witnessing a medical emergency or a criminal conspiracy. In this uncertainty lies the brilliance of the plot. Maxie is both gone and not gone, alive yet unreachable, a central figure whose absence drives everyone else into motion. Her friends, her family, and even her enemies are forced to react, and through their actions, Sidwell's true intentions begin to take shape. For the audience, the suspense is excruciating but irresistible. The re-emergence of Peter August's name in the midst of Maxie's crisis sends a chilling ripple through Port Charles. Though Peter was declared dead in 2022, his shadow continues to linger over Maxie's life in ways she cannot escape. His turbulent history with her, marked by obsession, betrayal, and a toxic romance that left deep scars, ensures that even in death, his presence exerts influence. More importantly, Peter and Maxie share a lasting bond through their daughter, Bailey, a living reminder of everything that was both hopeful and tragic in their story. For Sidwell, this connection complicates his strategy. Eliminating Maxie outright risks igniting a backlash from forces tied to Peter's murky legacy, and that is a gamble he cannot afford to take. Sidwell operates with ruthless precision, and he understands the delicate balance of power that underpins Port Charles. Killing Maxie would silence her permanently, but it would also draw unwanted attention and possibly stir the wrath of those who once served or were aligned with Peter. Even in death, Peter's influence runs through a network of allies, enemies, and unfinished business. If whispers about Peter's involvement in a secret research project are true, then the stakes are even higher. It suggests that he may have left behind knowledge, documents, or even collaborators who remain active. Maxie, being directly tied to Peter through Bailey, might be one of the few who could inadvertently expose those threads. Sidwell, aware of this possibility, must tread carefully. This is where the idea of incapacitation, through a medically induced coma or abduction, becomes far more advantageous than murder. Keeping Maxie alive but silent allows Sidwell to neutralize the threat without detonating the proverbial landmine of Peter's unfinished business. It also buys him time to assess whether Peter's supposed research ties pose a danger to his own empire. By rendering Maxie incapable of speaking, Sidwell ensures that no one in Port Charles can easily piece together how she may be connected to secrets larger than anyone realizes. The very mention of Peter August also heightens the psychological weight of the story. For Maxie's loved ones, the resurfacing of his name reopens old wounds. Felicia, still protective of her daughter, is haunted by the memory of Peter's manipulation and fears that his legacy could continue to harm Maxie even from beyond the grave. Max Scorpio, who once stood firm against Peter's treachery, senses the danger of history repeating itself in new and insidious ways. Anna Devane, whose tangled past with Peter as both aunt and reluctant adversary still weighs heavily on her conscience, cannot ignore the possibility that Peter's past sins are casting a long shadow over the present crisis. If Peter was indeed involved in a clandestine laboratory project, whether tied to biological research, pharmaceuticals, or weaponized chemicals, then Maxie's collapse is more than a personal tragedy. It becomes a matter of covering up secrets that could destabilize more than just deception. Sidwell would be aware that exposing such research could bring scrutiny from far more dangerous circles than local law enforcement. Corporations, international players, or shadowy figures connected to organized crime could all have vested interests in keeping those secrets buried. For Sidwell, keeping Maxie out of the picture ensures that no loose end, emotional or informational, unravels the larger web of control he is weaving. From a narrative standpoint, invoking Peter's ghostly influence adds layers of suspense that deepen Maxie's storyline. Fans are reminded that past villains never truly disappear from General Hospital, they live on through their secrets, their unfinished schemes, and the scars they leave on the characters who survive them. In this way, Peter functions almost like a phantom antagonist, his name alone carries enough menace to complicate the choices of the living. Sidwell knows this, and it informs his restraint. He does not need to kill Maxie. He needs only to remove her voice, her agency, her ability to connect the dots, while ensuring that those who loved or hated Peter remain too disoriented to interfere. This approach makes Maxie's plight even more unsettling. Her silence is not just a matter of physical incapacity, it is part of a larger chess game, one in which Sidwell plays cautiously, positioning his moves around the memory of a man who once terrorized her. In many ways, Maxie becomes collateral damage in a war between the living and the legacies of the dead. Her fate is now entwined not only with Sidwell's schemes but also with the unresolved specter of Peter August, whose shadow still has the power to dictate life and death decisions in Port Charles. Maxie's departure from General Hospital works on multiple levels, both as a practical necessity and as a dramatic turning point in the narrative. On a real-world level, the absence of Kirsten Storms is explained in a way that feels organic to the show's storytelling, allowing her to step away without breaking continuity. But within the fictional world of Port Charles, her sudden collapse and removal from the canvas becomes a narrative linchpin that reshapes the lives of everyone around her. It is not simply an exit, it is a catalyst, one that ignites fear, suspicion, guilt, and determination across multiple characters and storylines. For viewers, this development instantly demands attention. Each episode following Maxie's collapse is laced with tension, because the central question becomes not just about her survival but about the hidden layers of the event itself. Was she poisoned? Was she kidnapped? Did Sidwell truly orchestrate her downfall, and if so, how far does his conspiracy extend? The audience, much like Maxie's loved ones, is forced into a state of waiting. Clinging to each new clue, scrutinizing each twist, desperate to know the truth. That sense of prolonged suspense ensures that Maxie's absence is not a void but an active, looming presence that continues to shape the drama week after week. The brilliance of this setup lies in its dual narrative paths. On one hand, the coma storyline offers fertile ground for emotional exploration. Watching characters gather by Maxie's bedside, reflecting on their past with her, confessing regrets, or promising to protect her children, creates rich dramatic material. The image of Maxie lying still in a hospital bed is a heartbreaking one, and it forces those who love her, Felicia, Mac, Brooke Lynn, Lucy, and others, to confront not only their fears but their own failings. A coma keeps her alive, but it silences her voice, allowing the show to mine pathos and guilt in equal measure.